What if the very first thing your body tells you in the morning isn't just tiredness, but a quiet alarm bell? One so subtle it feels like nothing at all until it's too late. Imagine this. You open your eyes expecting another ordinary day, and within seconds, your body is trying to get your attention. Not with screams, but with whispers, tiny signals that something is wrong. Dangerously wrong, but easy to ignore if you're not looking for them. As we age, it becomes far too easy to dismiss these early morning sensations as just part of getting older. A little dizziness? Probably got up too fast. Numbness in your hand? Must have slept on it. A tight chest? Maybe indigestion from that late-night snack. We rationalize, minimize, and wave off symptoms because we've been conditioned to be tough. To not make a fuss, to assume we'll be fine after coffee. But what if that exact thinking is the very thing putting our lives at risk? Because some of the most serious life-threatening conditions, heart attacks, strokes, mini-strokes, don't come barreling through your door with drama. They sneak in quietly, especially overnight, and the only sign you get might be the way you feel when you wake up. That's what this video is about. The silent red flags your body might wave at you the moment you open your eyes. Signs that something deeper is going on, and that time may already be running. Today we're going to break down 5 specific morning symptoms that should never be ignored, especially after age 60. But more than that, we're going to unpack what they mean, why they happen, and what to do if one of them shows up for you or someone you love. And we're going to do it in a way that makes this more than just a health list. This is about becoming an advocate for your own life. It's about learning the language your body speaks and finally understanding the difference between something minor and something urgent. Let's begin with the first sign: sudden weakness on one side of the body. Now I want you to imagine this. It's 6:45 a.m. You've just opened your eyes and you go to stretch, but something doesn't feel right. Your left arm feels like it doesn't belong to you. You try to lift it, but it won't cooperate. It's not pain, it's heaviness, like a sandbag is resting inside your limb. You sit up, trying to shake it off, maybe thinking you slept on it funny. But something deeper is off. This isn't pins and needles. This isn't my arm fell asleep. This is your brain sounding an alarm. Because when weakness or numbness shows up on one side of the body, particularly just after waking, it's often a sign that a stroke has already happened. And here's the twist. Many strokes occur in the middle of the night while you sleep. That means when you wake up feeling weak or numb, you may already be several hours into a crisis. And every minute that passes matters. Why one side? Because of how your brain is structured. Each hemisphere controls movement and sensation on the opposite side of your body. So if a stroke disrupts blood flow to your brain's right side, your left arm or leg might stop responding. The symptoms vary. They can be subtle, like clumsiness or tingling, or they can be severe, like total paralysis. But the key is that it's new, sudden, unexplained, and specific to one side. This is not a wait and see moment. This is a call emergency services moment. Take Henry, a 76-year-old retired teacher from Michigan. He woke up one morning with a heavy, useless left arm. At first, he assumed it was just poor circulation. But his wife noticed something else. His speech was off, and his smile looked uneven. She didn't hesitate. She called for help immediately. Doctors confirmed Henry had suffered a mild stroke in his sleep. Because they acted quickly, he got the treatment he needed and recovered with physical therapy. Had they waited, the outcome could have been drastically different. This story isn't unique. It's happening quietly every day in bedrooms across the world, and too often, the signs go ignored. So here's your rule. If you wake up and one side of your body feels wrong, weak, numb, sluggish, don't dismiss it. Don't go back to sleep and hope it'll pass. Stand up, speak up, and seek help. Because the body doesn't make this kind of mistake. This isn't just about limbs, it's about life. Your body might be trying to tell you it's in trouble. And you only get one chance to listen before the damage is done. 2. Difficulty speaking or slurred words. Early sign of a stroke impacting the brain's language centers. If you or someone else hears speech that sounds off, do not wait, seek help right away. So you've woken up, and your arm moves fine. Your legs feel steady, but then you try to speak, and something is wrong. Maybe you go to say good morning, and the words don't land right. They sound fuzzy or slow, or not like you at all. Maybe your mouth doesn't seem to move the way it should, or the words come out jumbled, mismatched, or even nonsensical. You blink, pause, try again, same result. Now here's where most people make the critical mistake. They assume they're just groggy. They think it's morning brain, or that they're dehydrated, or that they just need a little coffee. But what if I told you that those slurred or scrambled words are potentially the very first and maybe only warning you'll get that a stroke is happening? Because just like physical weakness on one side of the body, sudden speech difficulty, especially right after waking, is one of the most reliable neurological indicators that something has gone wrong. In fact, it can be even more telling than weakness, because the parts of your brain that control language and speech are incredibly sensitive to blood flow disruption. A clot or bleed in one of those regions, and suddenly your brain knows what it wants to say, but the mouth can't deliver the message. It's like the wires have been cut, and now your speech is trying to reroute through back alleys that don't quite connect. And here's the cruel part. You may not even know it's happening. Some people are completely unaware their speech is slurred. They feel fine. They think they're talking normally until someone else notices and points it out. That's why loved ones matter in these moments. They're often the mirror you don't realize you need. Take Marilyn, 82 years old, who lived alone but called her daughter every morning like clockwork. One day, her daughter answered the phone and immediately sensed something was off. Marilyn's words were slurred, slowed like her tongue wasn't moving fast enough. She insisted she was fine, but her daughter didn't hesitate. She drove straight to her house, took one look at her mom's face, and brought her to the EA. Turns out Marilyn had suffered a small stroke. Thanks to fast intervention, her speech returned with therapy, and she never lost her independence. But if her daughter had brushed it off, if she'd thought, "Mom's just tired," the outcome could have been devastating. That's the margin we're dealing with here, tiny windows of time, where acting quickly can mean the difference between full recovery and lifelong disability. And yet, too many people ignore this warning sign. They write it off as a senior moment. They joke about their morning voice. But the truth is, sudden speech problems are rarely random, especially if you're not someone who normally slurs or stumbles. It's not about nerves or age or sleeping weird. It's about brain function. And your brain is not casual with its signals. So what should you look for? If your speech feels slow, or your mouth feels heavy, or you're mixing up words without meaning to stop, take it seriously. Try saying a simple sentence like, "The sky is blue and I am fine." If that feels hard, or doesn't sound right, or someone tells you you're not making sense, don't wait. Don't drink water and hope for the best. Call for help. Your words are a lifeline, not just to the people who love you, but to the doctors. Who can save your brain? Time matters. Don't give it away. The scariest part. This symptom may disappear as quickly as it came, but that doesn't mean you're in the clear. It just means your brain is buying time, and if you're smart, you'll use it wisely. 3. Sudden vision problems. Blurred or partial vision loss may be a silent stroke affecting the occipital lobe. Many dismiss this as eye fatigue or aging, but it's a red flag that requires fast action. Picture this: you wake up expecting to see the morning light spilling through the window like it always does, the ceiling fan spinning lazily, the dresser across the room just where you left it. But something's off. You blink once, twice, and realize part of your vision is missing. Maybe it's blurry. Maybe there's a shadow like someone smudged charcoal on one side of your sight. Or perhaps you only notice it when you turn your head and the world doesn't follow properly. You're not in pain. Nothing feels broken. So you figure it must just be a sleep thing. Maybe your eyes are tired or your glasses need adjusting. But this is no smudge. This is your brain sending a silent distress signal. Because sudden vision problems, especially when they appear upon waking, can be a subtle, often ignored sign of a stroke. And what's even more dangerous is how easy they are to rationalize. We don't expect strokes to show up in our eyes. We expect them to attack our limbs, our speech, our memory. But your visual system is deeply connected to your brain. In fact, the occipital lobe, the part of your brain that interprets visual input, is extremely vulnerable to changes in blood flow. If a clot blocks a tiny artery leading to that region while you sleep, you won't feel pain. You won't feel pressure. You'll just open your eyes and realize your world has shifted. And if you don't act fast, that shift can become permanent. Here's where the danger escalates. Many people delay care because the symptom feels manageable. I can still see out of one eye. It'll probably clear up. Maybe I just need a nap or some eye drops. But what if Carl had thought that? Carl, 76, woke up one morning and noticed the right side of his vision had turned into a blur, like a foggy windshield. He cleaned his glasses. Nothing changed. His wife, sensing something more serious, drove him to urgent care. The diagnosis? A minor stroke affecting the visual processing center of his brain. He got treatment within hours, and slowly his sight returned. But what if he had waited? What if he'd gone back to bed, assuming it would pass? That moment would have become the first day of permanent loss. That's the razor's edge we walk on as we age. The symptoms don't shout, they whisper. And the only way to survive is to learn how to hear them. Your eyes aren't just organs. They're mirrors reflecting your brain's internal state. And when vision suddenly changes, whether through blurriness, double vision, partial blindness, or strange shapes that weren't there yesterday, it's your job to stop and listen. Ask yourself, is this new? Is it only one eye? Is it affecting one side of your vision? Is it still there after a few minutes? If the answer to any of those is yes, then don't wait. Seek help. Don't risk it. Don't explain it away. Because sometimes the only chance you have to stop a stroke is the realization that the world looks different and you don't know why. And here's the emotional truth behind it. We rely on our sight more than almost anything else. Losing it, even partially, shakes our confidence, our independence, our sense of control. But it doesn't have to end that way. Early treatment changes everything. Acting fast can preserve your sight, your brain, your freedom. So if you wake up and the world doesn't look like it should, don't just rub your eyes and move on. Call someone, get checked. Because when your brain speaks through your vision, it's not guessing. It's warning you. 4. Loss of balance or coordination. Feeling wobbly or unable to walk straight may signal a mini-stroke or TIA. Don't write it off as grogginess. Seek immediate evaluation. You swing your legs out of bed, plant your feet, and stand but something's off. The floor feels too far away or too close, or maybe like it's moving ever so slightly. You reach for the wall, the nightstand, anything to steady yourself. Your balance is gone, not all the way, but enough to make you pause. Enough to make you wonder. Maybe you wobble, maybe you stumble, maybe you grab onto a dresser like it's a life raft in open water. Most people chalk it up to age. I must have gotten up too fast. My legs are stiff. I didn't sleep well. But that one moment, those few shaky seconds, can be your body's early alert that something serious is happening. And it's happening now. Sudden loss of balance or coordination, especially when it appears immediately upon waking, isn't just a senior moment, it's a neurological alarm. It could be a stroke, a mini-stroke known medically as a transient ischemic attack, or even an issue with your inner ear or brain stem. And if you ignore it, if you brush it off, you may be giving a life-threatening condition a head start. Here's why it matters so much. Balance is an orchestra of systems working together. Your eyes, your inner ears, your muscles, your joints, and your brain all play a role. When they're in sync, you don't think about it, you just move. But when something disrupts that harmony, your entire sense of motion collapses. The brain has to work overtime to compensate, and in the case of a stroke or mini-stroke, that compensation might never arrive. You're not just clumsy, you're compromised. And the danger isn't just in the event, it's in the fallout. People who lose balance and fall can fracture hips, bruise brains, shatter confidence, and many don't recover. That's the cost of ignoring what your body is trying to say. Take Walter, 76, a retired surveyor from Oregon. One morning, he stood up like always and fell into his closet door. No dizziness. No tripping hazard. Just off. His wife heard the crash, helped him up, and noticed he was walking strangely, like his legs didn't know what to do. She insisted on going to the hospital, and thank God she did. Walter had experienced a mini-stroke small enough to recover from, but serious enough to demand immediate care. Without that scare, he might have walked straight into a bigger, more devastating stroke days later. That's what we miss when we write off balance issues as just stiffness. We miss the moment where prevention is still possible. Psychologically, it runs even deeper. Losing balance shakes more than your body. It shakes your identity. Suddenly you feel fragile. You second-guess every step. You become cautious, reserved, even afraid to walk down a hallway without a wall to lean on. That fear can spiral into isolation, inactivity, and eventually decline. But it doesn't have to, not if you recognize the sign when it first shows up. So here's the rule. If your balance changes overnight, if you wake up and suddenly your legs don't land where you expect them to, don't assume it's stiffness or dehydration. Especially if it's paired with other red flags like vision issues, slurred speech, or weakness. Get help. Get checked. Don't wait for a fall to confirm what your body already knows. Because the earlier you act, the more power you have to. Protect your future, your mobility, your independence, your dignity. Don't lose those things to a moment of hesitation. If your world feels tilted, don't just wait for it to right itself. Find your footing by seeking care and taking control. 5. Chest tightness or pressure. A classic early morning sign of a heart attack, particularly between 5 to 10 a.m. Especially dangerous because it's often confused with indigestion or poor sleep posture. You open your eyes and immediately feel it, not a stabbing pain, not something dramatic, but a heaviness in your chest. A strange tightness, like someone is pressing gently but persistently down on your rib cage. It's subtle, maybe even ignorable. You sit up, stretch, yawn, hoping it'll go away. You tell yourself it's probably nothing. Maybe I slept. Funny, you think. Maybe it's just gas, just heartburn, just tension. But here's the brutal truth. When it comes to chest pressure in the morning, especially if you're over 60, the word just might be the most dangerous one in your vocabulary. Because chest tightness upon waking is one of the most overlooked but deadly signs of a heart attack, and you may be feeling the beginning of something irreversible. Here's why timing matters. Mornings are dangerous for the heart. Why? Because your body, after hours of rest, goes through a surge in stress hormones right around the time you wake up. Your blood gets thicker. Your heart rate rises. Your blood vessels constrict slightly. It's the biological equivalent of revving a cold engine. And if your arteries are already narrowed or blocked by plaque, that extra stress can tip the balance, turning a slow-developing problem into a full-blown heart attack. It's not just a theory, it's a documented reality. Heart attacks disproportionately occur in the early morning hours, between 5 and 10 a.m., and many people, especially men, ignore the signs. They don't want to cause a scene. They don't want to go to the EO and find out it was nothing. But what if it's not nothing? What if it's the one sign you were supposed to listen to? Let's be honest, TV and movies have done a terrible job preparing us for how heart attacks really look. We imagine someone clutching their chest, falling to the floor, gasping. But that's not how it usually happens. Sometimes it feels like a dull ache or a tight band across your chest. Sometimes it radiates to your back, your shoulder, your jaw. Sometimes it feels like you can't quite catch your breath. And sometimes it doesn't even hurt, it just feels wrong. That's why people die in their beds. Because they didn't take that heaviness seriously. Take Harold, 72, a retired mechanic from Ohio. He woke up feeling like he had a pile of bricks on his chest. He brushed it off, thought it was the chili he had eaten late the night before. But as the minutes passed, the pressure didn't ease. He noticed his arms tingling. He remembered hearing once that heart attacks can feel like that. And he did something most don't. He called 911. When paramedics arrived, they confirmed it. He was having a heart attack. But because he acted fast, doctors were able to intervene. He walked out of that hospital 5 days later, a changed man. He didn't just survive, he learned. And now so can you. The biggest danger of early morning chest symptoms isn't the symptom itself. It's the silence that follows it. The "I'll wait it out." The "let's see if it gets worse." The "I don't want to overreact." But heart tissue dies by the minute. The sooner you act, the more of it you save. The less likely you are to need surgery, long-term medication, or live with a damaged heart. And this isn't just about your body, it's about your life, your family, your story. All the things you've built over decades. Don't throw them away because you didn't want to seem dramatic. It's not dramatic to live. It's not dramatic to listen to your body when it whispers something's wrong. So here's your rule. If you wake up with tightness, pressure, or unusual discomfort in your chest, especially if it radiates, or comes with shortness of breath, or fatigue. Don't wait. Don't downplay. Call for help. Get to a hospital. Let the professionals sort it out. If it's nothing, you lose a few hours. If it's something, you just gave yourself a second chance. You've survived everything else life has thrown at you. Don't let your own hesitation be the thing that takes you out. Your heart has powered your story for decades. Give it the respect it deserves. So now we've walked through 5 early morning warnings. Your body may be sending subtle signals that can feel more like whispers than alarms, but each with the power to change or even save your life. Sudden weakness on one side of your body. Speech that slips and fumbles when you try to greet the day. Vision that dims or blurs without warning. A staggering step that feels out of sync with everything you've known. And a tightness in your chest that lingers, demanding attention even when you try to ignore it. Each of these symptoms is a quiet voice saying, "Notice me." And the older we get, the more important it becomes to listen, not with fear, but with presence, because awareness is not anxiety. Awareness is empowerment. It is the difference between regret and relief, between a delayed reaction and a decisive response. Here's the truth. Aging doesn't mean becoming helpless. It means becoming wiser. It means learning how to live with your body instead of against it. And it means understanding that while time is no longer infinite, every moment is still incredibly valuable. Especially the moments where you wake up and something doesn't feel quite right. You see, we tend to romanticize youth for its energy, but the quiet advantage of age is pattern recognition. You know what your body usually feels like. You know what's normal for you. That means when something changes, when something feels off, you're equipped to notice it sooner. But only if you allow yourself to. Only if you stop brushing off the red flags with "I'm just tired" or "I don't want to be dramatic." Dramatic is waiting too long. Dramatic is the fall you didn't have to take. The heart damage you could have avoided. The stroke you could have caught in time. Trusting your instincts isn't overreacting, it's self-respect. It's the ultimate form of love, for yourself, for the people who care about you, for the moments you still want to experience. Because let's be honest, this isn't just about you. It's about the daughter who still wants to call you every morning. The grandson who needs help tying his first fishing knot. The friend who still counts on your voice at weekly coffee meets. When you wake up tomorrow, do something radical. Slow down. Scan, feel, breathe. And if something's wrong, don't wait for permission to care. Act. This video isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. Because you deserve to. Live not just longer, but stronger, smarter, and with the kind of self-awareness that gives you power no matter how old you are. These 5 signs: weakness, slurred speech, sudden vision problems, balance loss, and chest tightness, they're not nuisances. They're signals. They're second chances. And they show up in the morning not because the day is broken, but because it's offering you an opportunity to fix something before it breaks completely. Listen to your body. Trust your instincts. And never forget, it's not too late to protect the life you've worked so hard to build. It's not over. In fact, it might just be the beginning of the part where you finally start listening, and in doing so start living even better.